Yo, what's up guys? It's Jeff. It's been a while, but today we have the release candidate version of iOS 14.4. Now, iOS 14.4 isn't the most glamorous update with fancy new features or a new look to iOS, but there are crucial bug fixes and improvements that improves the experiences of using accessories like the AirPods Max headphones and some others as well. And we also have improvements to how iOS works as a whole. So let's check out those improvements found in iOS 14.4. Today's video is sponsored by Trend Micro, and Trend Micro has this awesome premium security suite for both Mac and PC that offers you some mobile iOS and Android components as well. Now, I've been personally using Trend Micro antivirus software on my Mac, which ensures that all of my downloads are virus-free, my browsing of the internet is totally private, and that I am as safe as possible when using all of my Mac devices. Now, there's also that mobile component as well for Trend Micro. They extend that protection that I have on my Mac to my mobile devices so that no matter where I go, I'm fully protected and don't have to worry about security, even on my mobile devices. So guys, if you want to protect yourself on the internet across all of your devices, check out Trend Micro and their premium security suite, and a link to that will be in the video description down below. Okay, so first let's get into the finer details, and the total update size for me was 4.44 gigabytes from the last beta that we were running of iOS 14.4. And when you take a look at the build number in the About section, that new build number will be 18D52. Okay, so let's get into the improvements that iOS 14.4 brings to your iOS devices. And the first thing is there's improved support for AirPods Max headphones. I was actually having a lot of issues with the AirPods Max headphones running iOS 14.3. Now, one thing I was having trouble with is transparency mode. When I would switch it via the controls, via iOS Control Center, they wouldn't always switch to transparency mode. I'd have to switch to something else, like another mode entirely, and then switch back to transparency mode to get it to work. Very weird issue there. Another thing that I was having trouble with is actually when the connection between my iPhone and the AirPods Max headphones. The connection would not always be made, and then also when I put the AirPods on my head, they wouldn't always switch the audio from my iPhone to the headphones. So that was just a little bit of a nuisance simply because I don't always carry my iPhone with me. And when I put these on, I just fully expect for the audio to just switch over seamlessly to these headphones. That seems to be fixed now here in iOS 14.4, the release candidate version. So that's a huge plus for any of you guys who own these specific headphones. Now, the second thing is better Bluetooth device handling, and that could be in relation to headphones like these, but I honestly feel like the best experience for me in the improvement found here is with my car. Now, I always connect my iPhone to my car via Bluetooth, and for a while there, I was having a lot of issues connecting like Spotify or any sort of music playing apps would just not run on my car. Also, if they did run, they'd run very poorly. That seems to be fixed now here in iOS 14.4. So if you were having any Bluetooth device handling issues previously in iOS 14.3, those issues should be a lot better now here in this new update. Now, another thing a lot of people, but not myself, was actually experiencing is with HDR Photos, there was a bug. And basically, there'd be artifacts in the HDR pictures. That is now gone here in iOS 14.4, and that was actually an official release note for this update. So it looks like Apple was working on that issue, and it is now fixed and will be fixed into the near future here for that HDR bug. Now, if you don't take pictures in HDR, that was like specific to the iPhone 12 series. Now, if you don't have that, then that doesn't really relate to you. But if you guys were taking HDR photos with the newer devices here released just this past year, that bug should be fixed now here in this new update. Now, one of the biggest issues I personally was having in iOS 14.3 was a typing delay. Now, sometimes when I'd be typing in messages, I'd be typing in Instagram, anywhere where I'd be using the keyboard would just freeze up and have a huge lag. Now, for me, I can still type and not really feel that kind of weird just typing with it delayed. It would eventually catch up, but it was actually a huge issue and sometimes would be so annoying when I'm trying to get something done. It looks like that is now fixed, and that was also an issue found on the iPad as well in iPadOS. So with iPadOS, you could imagine that people trying to get work done or anything like that using the keyboard, that would be a huge problem. That issue finally has been fixed here in iOS 14.4. So if you guys do want to update when this new version comes out officially, hopefully next week, that typing delay should be fixed here in this update. Now, the next thing is widgets disappearing. That was an issue I've always seen in iOS 14. It seems like Apple just could not get that down. Basically, when I go back to my home screen, the widgets would just be all gone from the home screen at random, and I just have to restart my phone to get those widgets to reappear. And it looks like that issue is now fixed here in iOS 14.4. Now, I've said this before with all of the other updates like iOS 14.1 and 0.2, but it looks like it is finally now fixed. I haven't had any issues now for the past couple weeks, and I can officially say that that widget issue seems to be fixed now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future, it won't be back here in iOS. Now, the last thing is, for my personal experience, I was having a lot of issues with the Maps app just working. Sometimes the location was completely wrong as to where I actually was, or it just wouldn't update properly. So it would just lag behind and directions would come kind of like seconds after I would expect them to. Now, in using the Maps app just for a few minutes here, it looks like that issue now has been fixed. It wasn't fixed in the last beta. It looks like in the release candidate version, Apple has improved the Maps app to where it's just a little bit more accurate. So hopefully that continues into the actual release, the official release, but we'll just have to wait and see exactly how the Maps app works moving into the near future. Now, onto performance, and everything with iOS 14.4 is looking very similar to what we were experiencing in iOS 14.3. So as far as performance goes, I wouldn't say that's a key selling point here to updating to iOS 14.4. I'd say that bug fixes and performance improvements are going to be the highlight of this specific update for iOS 14.4. Now, as for battery life, things also seem to be very similar as far as battery performance goes. There's no drop-offs or anything like that or an improvement. But I think the most significant thing is if you have an older device, I haven't seen any drop-off in performance if you have like an older device like an iPhone 8 Plus or anything like that. So it's good that we don't see any drop-off, but we actually haven't seen any improvement with this new update. So it looks like between performance and battery life, things are pretty much the same here. Okay, so with all of the aspects of this specific update being covered, I have to say that if you have experienced any of the bugs that these bug fixes introduce here in iOS 14.4, then absolutely update to iOS 14.4 as soon as possible. But if you don't have any of those issues and performance is solid for you on iOS 14.3, maybe hold off on updating until new features come out in iOS 14.5, or if maybe you start to experience the issues that iOS 14.4 solves. I always say that there's really no reason to update if your experience really won't change. So if you don't absolutely need to update, I'd say hold off because updates can always cause more issues with your devices. And since we're not seeing any new features here, it's not really worth it here to upgrade to iOS 14.4 if you don't have those issues. Okay, so that was today's update for iOS 14.4, the release candidate version. And just in case you didn't hear before, there's also a release of iPadOS, tvOS, and watchOS release candidate betas. So if you are in any of the beta programs there, you should see an update for those platforms very, very soon. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you want to see more content in the near future, definitely get subscribed, hit that like button, and also hit that notification bell button to get notifications when any new content is released. You can also check me out on Twitter at JeffUpdated, and we also have a new podcast to check out as well. Links to both will be in the video description down below. Also, one more thing, shirts. We now have some merch up for sale on Cotton Bureau. So if you want a good quality shirt, we have some for sale on that platform. Links down below for that. Seriously, either get some of our merch or some other creators on that platform. The bottom line is that shirts from the Cotton Bureau are really comfortable and really stylish. But anyways, guys, I hope to see you in some future content or on some social media platforms sometime soon. But until then, I hope you all have an awesome day.